Adrian didn't make it back. So, how's everybody doing?
Whoa.
So,
Where'd Nick go?
there's
There he
Nick.
is.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Hey, Nick, how are you?
Hey, Greg. Great to see you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been.
Where's Adrian?
She had to step away for a second. And Greg, I know you've watched enough of us. You know I'm crazy. So I don't even have to apologize ahead of time.
You're not crazy.
Well,
This is crazy town.
I'm about to say, I need to record that. Someone said I'm not crazy.
Wait a minute. Are we live?
Yes.
I didn't even realize it.
Everybody's in crazy town.
Crazy town.
Oh my gosh, jeez. I'm always, because I said I was going to be a minute late. I was expecting the introduction was going to be playing. So, I guess, did Jeremy start it then, or?
Jeremy started it.
Okay.
As Greg says, welcome to Crazy Town. Where the crazier you are, the better.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I guess obviously we're gonna have to get started anyway because we don't even have the introduction. So I guess we're just gonna go right into business then with Crazy Town, I guess.
I am just sharing out, so you keep going.
Okay. Well, anyways, welcome to another episode of Supernatural Talk. We have a great great guest tonight. Actually, the first guest that's from my hometown area of Chicago.
Nick,
What's up?
you're echoing.
I'm echoing.
Hold on. Talk again.
Testing. Can you hear it or?
Not now. It just did something weird, but you're good now.
Okay, that freaked me out there for a second. But anyways, Greg, it's great to have you on. Like I said, you're the first guest that we've had from my area. So even though I pretty much know you well enough, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I started out when I was 10 at Gettysburg, and that's when the seed was planted. And since then, I was one of those kids that, when I went ahead and mentioned it, Brandon's here, and when I mentioned it to my father, because we were all involved in it together, the whole family had the experience. And it was a long time ago, and they didn't even have reenactments. So we experienced everything that day, everything from the cannon fire, guns going off, or shots going over the top of our heads, the explosions, and the horses screaming, and men screaming, and pistols, and you name it. And it was in and out with the wind. And when we got done, my dad talked to one of the rangers that were there, and the ranger went ahead and said that he was that kind of thing happened all the time. So it was the kind of thing that stuck with me. Dad said that when we got home, on our way home, to make sure that I didn't mention it to anybody, because you didn't want to go ahead and spread that kind of thing around.
I used the lines this time again.
And that's the way it started to go. I tried to hold on through, high school, and I was already into that, and I was into UFOs and all that kind of stuff before I left for college in the UP. And then it got crazier up there with the UFOs. So, as far as groups wise, I was very lucky to go ahead and become a member of GRS, Ghost Research Society, with Dale Kaczmarek, and I've been with him for quite a few years. And that's Papa Bear's on the air, I guess.
Does that sound like I'm loving the Papa Bear pajamas? I actually have mama bear pajamas.
Really? Oh, you know what? So does Adrian. So
But I'm not your mama bear.
no, you are not. No, you are not, and that could cause all kinds of problems if people think you were. So
I just had to put that disclaimer out there.
ain't your mama bear.
You know, Adrian ain't gonna like you being that
Jeremy.
close.
He shaved his beard.
Yes, I did. No shave November there, Jeremy. Yeah.
No shave November. I've never heard of that term before.
Yeah, it's for prostate
cancer.
cancer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
It's
now
real,
I won't shave my mustache again for the rest of the month. So here pretty soon I'm gonna go for like the Wilford Brimley, push broom mustache.
See, Greg's got the no shade November all the time.
I know that for a fact.
I keep on going back and forth. It gets crazier. Sometimes it gets real crazy. In the wintertime, it gets really crazy because I like to be on the ice quite a bit. So
Yeah. Well, one year, about 4 years ago, we went and we just started from the neck and just shaved everything. Went completely bald, egg-headed shave. So,
Okay.
but all right, I'm leaving now. Bye.
Nice meeting you.
Bye.
Good seeing you, Zach.
I just turned off the rice. So here in a second, I will just make sure it's done real quick. And if it is, I'll go make plates.
Yes.
Okay.
And if anyone is new to the show, Adrian and I have dinner on the show. So y'all have dinner with us every Thursday night.
Oh, that's awesome. What are we eating tonight?
Enchiladas here.
I'm about to say, I'm eating tacos. She's eating enchiladas. So we are calling it the Mexican night.
Hola,
Should have-
¿cómo está?
Should have somebody going ahead and playing some music or something in the background. Where's the sombrero at, Nick?
I got a
If
sombrero
we
at
told
my
him
other
this,
house.
he would have wore it.
I have a sombrero at my other house.
I am going to do a cooking show. Since the other one, I can't figure out how to get the page off there, but we're taking it off and just do a cooking show.
Adrian,
That's
for the
awesome.
longest time, was a McDonald's girl. Who is that saying that through Temple of Phoenix
Is that
Rising?
Rosie
Entertainment?
or
I wonder
is
if that's
it Dawn?
Rosie.
Rosie
Is
or
it
Dawn?
Rosie or Dawn? Yeah.
I miss
Rosie
Rosie
hasn't really been
too.
on.
Okay. I'm here, but I'm going off screen because tacos are messy.
So what? I get to eat on screen. No.
You
If
have to
my
come
fat
back
behind can eat on here, so can you.
What's going on, Shelby?
on. We like to see how you handle a taco.
A little too personal there. I'm putting a taco in your mouth.
Well, I was thinking it was a little personal when I saw I shaved everything 2 months ago.
Oh my
He's
god.
not in here. He's not here right now to shut us down.
Adrian,
so-
you really went there. You
Yeah,
really
like holy cow.
I have no idea. I'm not gonna.
I'm just gonna say no comment. I'm not touching that one.
You usually do not.
Dinner with supernatural talk. Oh, he kind of likes this idea, Jeremy
Yeah,
said.
it's a pretty neat idea.
Crickets.
I mean,
Crickets.
No,
I get off
no,
work,
I'm on.
come
There's no
straight
crickets.
here. I get off work, come straight here, and and it's time to cook or whatever, and then eat. So you gotta eat when you can.
What time is it there?
7-Eleven.
It's 7, same area as me, 7-Eleven over here.
It's 6:11 here. I really thought I almost got in a lot of trouble. I really thought that I know that Colorado voted for no more daylight savings time. I thought that went into effect. No, not this year.
I'm not complaining because my office officially now goes from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. versus 6. And we get to now wear blue jeans on Friday. So I am not complaining.
811
Oh,
up here.
okay. 811. That's got to be Dawn.
No, because she lives in it's 7-Eleven over here. She's in the same state as me and Greg are.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's not 8 o'clock in Oklahoma, so it cannot be.
No, it's not Rosie. She's on the same time zone as us. So it's got to be someone from the East Coast.
So
Rosie's on the same time as us. I thought she was out west.
She actually lives kind of between the border of Oklahoma and Arkansas, and that particular area. That's
it's
still
Joanne,
it's
okay.
Joanne.
Oh, it's Joanne. Okay,
All
so
right.
yeah, that's still Central Time in that area.
Wow.
Okay, I'm going to get my dinner, and then I want to know what Greg does.
I was just asking about.
Well,
that.
we were just starting to talk about it, and then the food arrived, and it was like, well,
Yeah, right.
what's more important than food? No matter what I say. No, I was and still am a member of Ghost Research Society with Dale Kazmarek. Great group. I had the opportunity, because he's on the south side of Chicago and I live up by the Wisconsin border. It was like I had the opportunity to help out Nick Sarlo with the Shadowhunters. So, I joined forces with him, and we've been on with him for probably 4 or 5 years, something like that. But we've got some good things going, and it's interesting to see how far you could go. I have 2 shows. I have a show on Wednesdays that's called Metaphysical Crossing, and it's all ITC. And I've been in ITC since I went on to my, my spiritual path. So it was like, all of a sudden, I was watching a show one night that had some guys that were doing a round table, and they happened to be some of the biggest names in ITC.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked them a question because out at, I want to say it was for our school, we're down and we were doing a double Estes, and there were 2 of us. And in the middle of it, we were picking up this white noise that was inside the white noise again. And it was a ticking. And it was like, he freaked out. He's been my partner for quite some time as far as ITC. That's Mike Wright from GRS. And Michael freaked and came out of the experiment. And so I took that, and that round table was going on. And I said to them, this is really crazy. I says, but I described the situation and what had happened, and it was constant. I mean, constant. It was like somebody was trying to talk to us. So I went ahead and I asked, and I'm not going to mention any names, but they're very big people. 2 of them looked at each other across the table, and they started to smile. And they said, "Isn't that what Frank was doing? Or what Frank was all about?" And right away it was like, well, that's Frank Sumption, and I'm going, holy crap. Are we dealing with one, or are we dealing with 4 different types of entities that are all rolled into one?
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of me taking a small right-hand turn and dealing more with my spirituality, trying through the spirit box sessions and things that I do a lot of communicating with my guides.
So
And
when you do spirit box, do you put it to sweeping channels, or do you put it on white noise only?
I sweep a lot. I sweep a lot on FM, and I sweep on reverse. It's on reverse mode, and I usually keep it. I think this not the fastest. It's second to the fastest.
Thank you.
And I enjoy. I do most of my show with that. I've been doing a lot of work lately for the last couple of years now with a lot of the Supernatural Inc. stuff. Okay, with Katie Stafford and Katie, and
Yeah.
so I have a lot of I have a few Nanocoms. I have one of their retro boxes, and you know it's great stuff. And it's helped me understand more as far as when you could go ahead and do those on that random sweep, and it just goes to the channels that have that EMF coming through to them.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the important part of that. And, you know, that's quite a tool.
Right.
So if you get into situations where you're looking for something like that, or they're a little more reluctant to communicate,
Right.
you know, you could use that more to your advantage. I enjoy doing that, and that's pretty much going to be my forte, I think, from now on. As far as hunting is concerned, just give me a corner.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I came from a situation where, and this is a story that Nick had heard. I was at Gettysburg, and I went back to see where I was when I was a kid. And we found it on the last day, but the important part about it was the fact that everything that was going on that night was a little crazy. And I was on in the triangular field, and I was halfway down, and you know, I found the spirit box with a few, you know, more than two people is too many to me. And I was down there by myself, halfway down the hill, and I was on a giant piece of granite, and I was by the woods, and they were coming out to me because I was talking to them. And as this was going on, I could hear from the top of the hill. You could hear the spirit box over 100 yards away. You could hear it sweeping, and you could hear this head. And you'd hear somebody go, "It said dead." And then somebody else said, "No, it didn't. It said head." And they started to bicker. And I said, "That's it." And I turned my spirit box off. Because it's like, I did not want to be part of that anymore, because, you know, that's not what it's all about.
No.
You know, you're being a little disrespectful to whoever happens to be answering you, and it's their world you're dealing with, not ours.
So now you say you started when you were young. Roughly, how old were you when you started, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, as far as my first experience, I was 10.
But as far as like actually investigating, when you
Actually investigating was probably 15 years ago.
Okay.
And it was more basically on my own. You know, everybody was already involved. Everything was coming on TV, and you know, it was driving everybody at that time. Everybody was antsy and they were hungry. You know, they were interested, but I was interested more than everybody else that was around here.
Because, I mean, with you starting at Gettysburg area, that's like amazing. Because I was going to ask, the reason I was wondering about how old you were when you started, because I know Nick started pretty young, and there's so much controversy about what age do you start people investigating. And I feel it's every child's different.
Yeah.
Well, if they come on and they're respectful, and they come on with some discipline as far as what they're going to be doing in a nighttime investigation, that's great. But you know, there is an attraction to children, of course, which could eliminate half of that issue. But at the same time, you know, you'd want to go ahead and still try to be as respectful as you possibly could.
Right.
And
I took my
that's why-
grandson And everybody, I did, of course, advertise it, just my friends. But I took my grandson when he was 7. And it was a house I knew was completely benign. And the spirit that was there was just funny because you just, like, it would finish knocks for you. Things like that. It was just somebody who died there. And I knew it was harmless. So I took his mom with me, of course, as well. But he was like, Mom, I'm ready to go. And so the next day I let him go. And then the next day we talked about it. And he's like, I want to go again. He didn't realize what it really was. Oh, holy.
Hey, Brad.
hell.
Brad,
No, mute him. No, mute him.
I don't even think.
Alexa, play that funky music.
He just wanted to jump on, but I don't even think I heard him say anything.
You better not.
just look.
Well,
So what is Greg Cost doing on there?
No, he knew you'd be on here, but I don't know. He's trying to get everybody to talk to my. Yeah.
Device.
Anyway,
Device.
that little speaker is right here next to the speaker, and they make it do some crazy things.
But as far as locations are concerned, with GRS, I've had the privilege of actually investigating a lot of the great places in the United States. On my own, I did the Stanley with my daughter. She was my photographer because I have this little thing that I caught overseas that's called the Tremors. So I have this. Well, it's all associated with Agent Orange. So, so it plays on you. There's times when you can't really do what you want to do, and I love to be able to do live Facebook all the time. And everything like, how you doing,
Rod?
What is that reverb?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, but you
I
got a
just wanted to
reverb
say,
going on.
I just wanted to say Alexa.
You what? Oh my God, I didn't even hear that at first. Jeez, Brad. Oh,
So,
damn.
Greg, so what I was I was investigating with someone one time, and again talking about children investigating. And one thing is, guys, if y'all ever are gonna even remotely tell a kid that they can investigate, don't lie to them. Because I had one that my son was wanting to investigate. My son's a Halloween baby, like literally his birthday's Halloween. So we have always been, about scary things for Halloween and all. My brother-in-law makes all the gory mask and all with was that Fangoria or whatever?
Fangoria.
Fangoria, yeah. He does. He's done all that, so he's been associated with that his whole life. And so I was like, when he was probably about maybe 11, I was like, something like that. I was like, hey, he wanted to go to an investigation. This guy I was investigating with was like, oh, he's too young. I was like, he's not your average 11-year-old. He's got 3 older siblings. I've taken him to cemeteries, things like that. He's not your average 11-year-old. So we were at this one place, and then my son ran into this gentleman, and my son said, hey, am I going to ever be able to investigate? He said, well, if you make straight A's, I will let you investigate. So he's like, okay, well, I'm an honor student and I'm in Quest. I'm a straight A student. He never let him investigate. He said he was too young.
Mm-mm.
I was like, how dare you tell this child? So luckily I teamed up with another team, and for his birthday, we took him to the funeral home in Kosciuszko. We took him there and the jail to investigate. He did the world's largest ghost hunt at 12 years old.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know that. Brad's daughter wants to go to Waverly so bad.
We get it back, and I'll pay for her to go.
Yeah. She's a great kid. I think she deserves to investigate
I do
Waverly.
too.
That's an awesome place.
Yeah.
So,
We're
yeah, that's
fighting
where I
for
was
it. We're
going with
fighting
that.
for it.
What I'm seeing a little more of, which is I'm very thankful for it, is we have more accountability for mediums. We have more accountability for ITC people. They're more going toward the scientific side of things to where, you know, it's not. And we all know that mediumship is you can't prove anything. It's just for the reader. That's it. But we're going more toward scientific. I have a friend who's a college took her on, and they're doing brain scans and different things with mediums and people who aren't as well. It's a controlled study, but they're doing more with ITC. They're doing more with every aspect of it, the pictures, so we've advanced a lot in the field, which has caused, of course, a lot of controversy, and that's going to happen. But there is so many scientific minds out there that I think we could get a lot further in our lifetime than people have been.
You know who Dr. Chuck Kennedy is, right?
I don't.
From Project Psi.
Okay.
And he has a group of mediums that all get together, and they were the ones that busted up the human trafficking ring a year ago before Christmas and found like 400 people.
That's amazing.
And they do awesome work. He's just an amazing man. I've had the pleasure of going down and working with him. You know, he did a scan on me, and we talked about past lives and everything. And you know, it's just another one of those things that, you know, just came to me.
Mhm.
If you know what I mean. It wasn't. I didn't go out looking for it.
Right.
But it's something that you have to take and just appreciate and say thank you. And somewhere down the line, go ahead and have the opportunity to use it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's my favorite medium there that said that.
Who was that?
That was
Jennifer.
Jennifer Esley.
Oh,
Good to see you, John.
glad to meet you, Jennifer. I
So,
know
Greg,
we're
I'm
friends.
dying to know, what is that behind you?
You mean there?
Is that Batman?
It looks like an owl.
I was going to say, it looks
Oh,
like
it's
some
an
kind of owl thing.
There's 3 owls.
Okay. Oh, I see it
Oh.
now. I see it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that either. There's 3 of them.
I was looking
Yeah.
at it. I was like, wait, is that Batman? Like with his, and he's got his, but now I see the owls. Okay. I've been seeing it going,
It's-
what is that?
Owl isn't my spirit animal. Okay, a giraffe is, and her name is Becca. But that they just called to me.
Now, did you paint that, or is that just a picture?
That's actually in one of those embroidery things.
Oh, somebody took some time on that.
That was an ape. Who is this? I don't. I didn't.
That
Who would come up with
there.
something with an ape?
You thought
You know
that
that
was an
little
ape?
beak?
I mean,
If
who,
I get out of the way a little more, then you can see the rest of it.
this entire time I saw it as an owl. I just didn't see that there were 3. But an ape, I never thought of that.
I thought Batman, so I couldn't.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Whoever
so
this is on a small phone.
right, and there we go. That's a segue into pareidolia. I mean, this is how it
You see
happens.
what your brain creates
Mhm.
certain things.
You see,
There
I
was
know
a
who
picture.
this is.
I originally put the owls up when we were I work with Psychics Unite too. So, and that's Scotty Rourke from Madison.
Yep, Scotty. Yeah.
And, you know, when I go ahead, I have the opportunity every once in a while to run the group. And it's just calming. They know a lot. You know, it's something that you can look at, and they sometimes, you know, you'd almost get the impression that they could say things to you, but
And when they do, I hope I'm recording.
it's really the kind of thing that has a meaning to it for me. Let's put
Nick?
it that way.
Nick, what
Yeah.
was that?
What was what? I have no idea what you're talking about.
That was not my cup. was
Oh
it?
hell, put that cup away.
I was thirsty. I have been on my feet all day today doing nothing but putting Halloween stuff away and getting and actually getting real Thanksgiving stuff out. So I've been on this for hours. I deserve a drink, even if it comes from this cop.
You sort of look like what was the director that did Eraserhead?
Oh, it's
The way your head, the shadow of your head behind you right now, it looks like you look like out of Eraserhead. It's the
David Lynch.
Yes, David
Yeah,
Lynch.
that's who directed it.
Yeah, he directed it, but the actor that played the guy, he had hair that went straight up. Remember that?
Yeah, I'm looking at the
Not Phil
poster right
Hour.
now. I'm looking at the poster right now. I think, but you know
You
what?
guys, you guys didn't spend a lot of time on Eraserhead when you were young. Right?
You know what? I don't know if you know this, Greg. That guy who had his hair straight up, that actually later became the inspiration for Kramer on Seinfeld because his hair was
Okay.
straight up too.
I believe it.
Show me the damn cup.
Okay. So, so Greg, we know you're into IT, which means you're on the scientific side of things. So, how do you feel about crystals and all those kind of holistic
I
things?
love it. I love it. Anything to increase my energy,
Right.
is fine by me.
Yeah.
I don't have very many things at all that I'm not fond of. You know, and it all stems from that because I just have a craving. Not that I'm like some of the people that I know that have enough crystals. And there's a certain lady that's in Psychics Unite. She's a wonderful woman. And I'm not going to mention her name, but she has enough crystals in her house. I said to her, I says, you need to make sure that that your floorboards, your joists are adequate enough to hold all those crystals. And we we laugh about it all the time.
My house looks the same way. Yeah.
I've got a crescent moon full of crystals and then some others. What you find weird is that, or ironic, not weird, but I was out shooting darts one day, and someone actually walked up to me and says, and someone I've known for years walked up to me, put a crystal in my hand, and said, "I got the feeling you need this." And I looked down, I was like,
"Yep,
you carry crystals?" I was like, "Wow," because it's funny to find out that who does and who doesn't, but then I don't know.
You still have that crystal?
Yes.
Is it in your pocket?
No. I swap my crystals out depending on my day.
We have one that people just will not. I mean, they're like, it's this big, and they're like, I'm not looking at that. I'm not touching that.
The only thing I have on me at all times is my watermelon tourmaline. I have that on me at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's only come off my neck. You know, I cleanse it on my neck and everything. It only comes off my neck when it's a major cleaning day. But awesome. And then I wear a moonstone ring, and then I've got what is it? I don't know. Beth made me take it off at my last investigation and came up missing. I used to wear another one. It was that would go well with the EAD stone.
You were there where I yes, I do have it's next to it. But you were there when I got this.
Did you get that off a chipmunk or what?
I got it at Salina, Texas. Salina, Texas. Oh my God.
Salina, Texas.
Salina.
I was going to say, I didn't know there was a Salina, Texas.
Boy, that's a long way.
I think I went to the wrong state.
I was going to say, as far as I knew there was a Salina, Kansas, but never knew there was a Salina, Texas.
You know what? There might be.
I'm
Speaking
going to look that up.
Speaking of crystals, I do feel that sometimes you get crystals, the crystals call to you, but they're not meant for you. They call to you for other people. Like Shelby was saying, one day we were investigating and I had worn, and I don't remember what kind it was, Shelby, but I used to always wear this ring. And this certain investigation, that ring was really bothering me. So I was like, okay, I took it off. But I felt the need to give it to Shelby. So she thought she was just going to wear it. I said, no, I feel the need. You need this. And that's what I had to get. So I think sometimes crystals come to you for somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Adrian, there is a Salina, Texas,
Yeah,
but it's spelled different though. Unlike the Salina in Kansas, where it's Salina. In Texas, it's Celina, but still pronounced Salina, Texas.
That's Selena.
Selena, yes. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Why
don't
Someday we
say-
might know, but I don't know where Texas came from. Like, I have no idea, but maybe we'll find out at some point.
For those that don't know, this is for Todd.
Oh, Todd's on. What's up, Todd?
Hey, Todd.
Oh, good to see you on here too, Keith. He has a question for you, which is: can ghosts and or spirits use quartz crystals to communicate with the living?
I haven't done anything with that way. I am merely straight ITC. Not that
I think
that
so.
couldn't fill in. It could fill in that way if you
I
used it in an experiment.
I would actually go ahead.
My reason for that, I think, the same as yours. My reason for that is quartz is used for watches. It's used for television screens. It's used for, there's lots of uses for that. And most of it is generating, things. I don't know. I do know it enhances, but
It's power. It's power. It's energy.
Yeah, and I've
In pure
actually
form.
that's a good one, Keith. I might try one day, unless y'all have tried it. Is put a quartz crystal next to maybe a REM pod,
Right.
and see if it does do something like that. That's a great idea.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you guys are on here. So now you just got me all enthused, and I know what I'll be doing at 2:00 this morning.
yeah, it's funny. My grandson, my daughter called me with my 7-year-old grandson tonight. Said, Mom, he just wants to show you this. He's holding a amethyst, a raw amethyst. You can see the stone on the bottom. And then, of course, the little crystallites up here. And I said, where'd you get that? He goes, a friend gave it to me. 6 years old. I'm like, okay. He said, but I know you're supposed to do something with it, right? I said, just hold it. That's all you're supposed to do. Just put it up. You're too young for this. And I said, but it will give you, I sent it to his mom, what it does. And it's supposed to help ground. And it's supposed to, do a couple of things. And she sent it to him. I said, now explain that to him in 6-year-old terms. But those
It keeps
kids,
you calm.
yeah.
My issue with crystals really is the fact that there's way too many of them
There is.
for me to keep track
Yes.
and do the other things I want to do at the same time. There's a lady by the name of Sandy Cornwall Frankowski, who is a medium, and she also has a show on crystals. And I was addicted to her show for about 3 years. And that's all I wanted to do is just buy.
Right.
And I have a lot of them too, but showpieces are something that only come along, and they have, and you have to be attracted to them for them to really mean something. Just like what you were talking about, Eileen.
So, and back to Anthony on Anthony's questions, I do think crystals call you, because when I go to find a crystal, and I had never done crystals, I sound like a drug, but I never done crystals until
That just didn't sound right.
Well,
I didn't do that crystal. But until Beth one day, I was on the phone with her. I was going to a location. She goes, "I need you to stop by, and I need you to get some selenite. I need you to get this." She gave me a list of things to get. Well, so the next investigation, she gave me what I need to be on that. Well, before you know it, I'm like you. I have so many, I can't. I have like this book, and I have an app on my phone now that I have to take a picture, and it tells me which one it is. But as far as when I go to pick them out, I feel them. I just feel, what do I feel when I'm touching this? And then before I go on an investigation, I just look at them and go, now some of them, of course, I do know what they are, but I look at them and go, okay, you need to go with me. And I'll pick it and take it with me.
But you can feel, when you feel the energy in your hand, and you just sort of like squeeze them a little bit, it makes so much more sense. The attraction, the energy of it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's the whole point, I think, of taking them along with you.
See,
because it helps you.
I hate being in Mississippi in the Bible Belt because it seems like we don't have a lot of places to get crystals, and so I have to order online, and I don't like that. I lose that connection. So I sit there and I really do study what I'm looking at and pray it's real when it gets here. But I study it and look at it and try to get the feel online, but it's nothing like just holding it in your hand.
Right. Courtney wants to know a question. If I went ahead and set a double blind ghost box, would I be stepping out of bounds?
I don't think there's any bounds.
I don't think there is either. The Petrified Forest Island, it's right by my house. I go there all the time, Shelby says.
Well, set a date.
We got another question. Oh, from Keith again. Do crystals have a personality and or a soul?
They have a life force.
That's what I kind of looked at it as.
This.
Wow.
Whoa. Check that out.
I don't know why I had to have it. I just did. And that's a clear quartz. And then this I got for my wedding. And Jennifer actually got this for me.
I actually first thought it looked like a stick at first, but now I can see it's a crystal.
Yeah, it's selenite, raw selenite. And then it's used for, metaphorically cutting ties for, whatever, or sage, you can.
Right.
But yeah, she ended up giving me
I know she's got
quite a few things.
Eileen's got her sage out.
Got my cedar.
I was going to say, Eileen, what were you laughing about? What
Cedar?
I got quite a few crystals for our wedding that sit kind of forefront. There was a reason for them, and so they're there.
Gift
That's
shop
awesome.
has tons of crystals. Looks like she scheduled a time for you to come out, Eileen, next Saturday.
I do not work, so we are good.
Is Shelby from down by you?
Shelby's one of my team members.
I don't know about trapping anything. I've never heard of trapping anything.
I've never
The way
heard that
we
either.
work is you can either help them cross over if they're willing to go, because you can't make them do anything they're not going to do. If they can walk through walls, you're not going to trap them anywhere. Time and space is nothing for them. We have time. They don't. This is like, you can think of somebody and they're there. I trapping them. No, that's a Ghostbusters thing. We don't have that vacuum. I'm not real sure about all that.
If anything, they'd be more attracted just to the fact of the extra energy.
Yeah.
But besides
use
that,
it.
I don't. Yeah.
Geez, Keith is really full of questions tonight. Where online do you purchase your crystals?
I do not online.
I have no choice most of the time, so I just kind of search around different places, but I don't really have a choice much.
Secret Sandy is the lady that we deal with from around here, and I've been dealing with her now, like I said, for quite a few years. And she has excellent prices too.
Who is Facebook user?
Yeah, who is? I was going to say, is this someone you know, Eileen?
Oh, it's
Oh no,
someone
I'm
she
even still in
knows.
work clothes. Okay.
There are a lot of I just don't understand. There's a lot of Facebook users tonight, and I don't know how they're not seeing this banner for
You
us.
guys know how to go to StreamYard and say I
If
give
you
you permission?
Oh, it's Donald. You must be going through my page. If you
It's
go-
Donald. Sure, we
Go
confirm
to a
that.
certain page, like an individual's page versus the things page, it will still show up as Facebook user. I don't know why. I can't figure out why it's doing that.
Jennifer,
There's
what do you
someone-
think about that? Do you think that's possible?
You used to have a huge collection of crystals. I had a jumbo Super 7.
What's a Super 7?
That's what I was going to ask. What the hell is that?
I'm guessing 7 different crystals in one, but I don't know.
Now, I do have a chakra tree at my office.
Good. I was hoping I wasn't that crazy.
What was Jennifer's question?
She said that she saw somebody claiming that they could trap a spirit in a crystal, and I asked her if she
secret-
believed it.
Now, Keith is asking Secret Sandy online.
Yeah, it's secret.
Yeah, that's probably just a mistype he may have made.
7 chakras.
But her,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
her
all
name
7
is-
I
chakras.
understand that.
Okay.
Okay, I do that. That's crystal healing. That's it's holistic healing. It the 7 chakras. Yes, I
Heals all 7 chakras.
get that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. See, believe it or not, I actually do have a few crystals of my own, although they're among the smaller crystals I have. They're all the way downstairs, so I would show them if I could, but they're all the way in the basement.
Anthony, yes. So therefore, and this is opinion. There's nobody an expert in this field. This is an opinion.
Right.
But yes, crystals hold energy. Spirit is energy. Therefore, they're going to use it. They're not going to go in it. They're going to use it, just like they would drain your batteries. When people say, "Oh, wait, here, use my energy," don't do that. Don't do that. There's
Now,
plenty
who
of
is
energy all
this?
around.
Now, who is this? Because they just leave a question mark.
They trapped him in Superman
Oh,
and shot him
Jill.
into space. Oh, yeah.
I
You know better.
was wondering where Jill was. I didn't expect her to start off with
Jill.
that.
Are you in Facebook jail?
That's what I was wondering. But who the hell is this? They're just leaving a question mark like
That's
I don't know
Donald,
what
I
your
think.
question-
I think
Is
that's
that-
still Donald.
Well, if it is Donald, it's probably Randy, his alter ego.
His alter ego. He's got an alter ego named
His
Randy.
alter ego.
Only found
Randy,
him-
You guys-
Randy, whatever.
Do you guys all charge yours on selenite?
I
I
do
do have-
on selenite, yes. The ones I carry with me. And then, hi Jill. And then the ones that I have, like in the house for several reasons, I put them in the moonlight on a full moon.
I was about to say, in my crescent moon, I've got layers of selenite that I do sit them on top of.
Wow. I have a pyramid too.
All right, Jill.
I think I could pick it up without dislocating everything underneath it, but it looks like that.
Mhm.
Oh wow.
And I have my selenite pads in there, and then I have my crystals.
Is that copper?
It was.
Yes.
Donald, we don't want to see you, so that's okay.
There we go. There we go, Donald. We got you.
Hey, Donald, welcome. I'm glad you got Troy back on your team.
What does moonlight do to your crystals, Keith? It cleanses them naturally. Me personally, that not everybody does this. I set them on the ground itself so that the negative energy can go back in the ground. It works as a filter, and then the moonlight, and it's the energy around. It's not necessarily just the moonlight, but the energy around can go back into them. They're like a filter.
Don't you have those little? What are those? What are those little creatures that dig all the holes out by you?
Oh,
in
gophers.
Colorado?
No, thank goodness.
Don't they? Won't they try to steal your crystals?
Yeah, they will. They will.
I
Now,
I could just see you
chipmunk.
running in the backyard with a broom, chasing the
Oh,
damn
yeah.
gopher that's got one of your
Oh, yeah, I
crystals.
would. And moonwater,
So-
yes. I do
I like
moonwater.
making moonwater. Yes. Y'all brought up something and made me think about it. The weirdest thing happened, as majority of everybody probably knows by now. I'm renovating a house that was, we got from my father-in-law, and we got a dog. And my father-in-law made a joke one time. Well, not really a joke, but I was trying to get him a puppy when he got sick, or an older dog, whatever. And he had told me, he said, no dog will ever enter this house if it's not a German Shepherd. And then he says, I'm too sick to take care of a German Shepherd. So right after we started getting the house, right after he passed away, we rescued a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
And that was being beaten and all this. And so it was less than a year old. We brought it in the house, and then it clicked in our head what he had said. So we're like laughing, going, okay, Dave, you're going to sit here and laugh at us because we got a German Shepherd in the house now. And that was our first dog we've owned in 15 years. And I got all other kind of weird animals. But so the dog was in the backyard the other day. Now keep in mind, my father-in-law has lived in this house since 1978. And there was only one other homeowner before 78. The dog was in the backyard while we were putting Halloween decorations away, and we started digging. We're like, what the heck is he digging? So he didn't dig deep, so it can't be that old. But he came up with a piece of ceramic that had the initials RW on it. Well, my father-in-law's last name, his name is David Jones. So Jones would have been pretty much everyone who's lived in this house since the mid-70s. And it dawned on me, my mother's initials are RW. But we can't. And then I asked the other owner, I asked the neighbor across the street who lived there when the houses were built. She says she does not know an RW that has ever been associated with that house.
Holy cow!
And we're like trying to figure this out. I mean, it wasn't, but maybe like this deep. So it wasn't that old. And we could not figure out how. The only thing I could think of was, of course, me being crazy, was like, did Mama leave something behind? Because my mom's been dead for 21 years.
You never know. You really don't. I was
Yeah.
watching, like I said last week, those past life, or not past life, like near death experience stuff. And I'm still stuck on that because I am trying to figure this out. Not like I'm a scientist and going to figure out any of this, but listening to all of the different doctors talking about why they think it happens. And everybody's so different in what they experience. So I'm stuck on that right now. But one of the people, it was just so it kind of stuck out. People say, and my mother-in-law is one of them, that says red cardinals are something that people send to you, and it was just so amazing because you could tell it wasn't staged. You could tell it was on a Netflix thing. And this lady had lost somebody, and they said, oh, medium told her you'll see a red cardinal. She didn't think anything about it. Her and her sister were outside, and they happened to be filming when it happened. And this cardinal was sitting there on the bird bath. And she walked over to it and was talking to it like, it was her loved one. And then it come and landed on her shoulder and sat there.
Wow.
And did not move.
That's
And,
awesome.
What else could that be?
I don't know
Really great.
if I've ever told Donald about this, and I'm sorry if it upsets you, Donald. But I was working at a different office helping out one day, and a red cardinal came and just was pounding the window. It would fly away, come back, pound the window, fly away, come back. And this happened literally from like 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And I'm sitting there going, what the heck? And I was telling a friend of mine about it, and she says, that means someone near to you is going to die and visit, whatever. That evening, I had gotten word that the co-founder of Southern Paranormal, Doyle, had passed away, and I cried. I was like, "Oh
Wait.
my gosh!" You know,
What was this last? Well, who was this again? That name sound.
it was Doyle Goss. He's the co-founder of Southern Paranormal with Donald Martin.
I remember Doyle. Yeah, because I spoke to him a couple of times, and I had no idea. It was some post or something I had, I think, on one of those big paranormal posts I made where I tagged a lot of people, and I was told from somebody that Doyle Goss passed away. I was like, "You're kidding! I didn't hear anything about this." He said, "Yeah, he passed away a couple months ago." I'm surprised I didn't get notified about it at the time of his death.
Yeah, I think, what was it, Donald? Was it June of 2020?
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago, I think. Yeah.
Because Donald actually does a memorial investigation. We did it at OSPH in 2021 for him. And he's still around. He hangs out with Donald quite a bit. He likes to come through with Donald quite a bit.
I've never heard it a cardinal in that sense.
See, I
Most
don't
of
know
the time, I've heard them in the happy sense that you're getting a message.
Yeah.
Well,
You
and that's
know,
what I'm saying. It was something about that someone was going to die and they were sending you a message type thing. But I don't know. I mean, it was just
No, I mean
cool.
in the positive sense.
Right, not like it was a bad thing. It was just, well, it was a bad thing that he passed,
passed.
obviously. But and I mean, he was a great guy. He really was. He was actually, him and Donald, I was with another group, and it was almost like I wasn't allowed. In fact, I was actually scolded because I went on an investigation with them without the other person. And I was like, well, I was invited and I just wanted to go. And Donald and Doyle both kind of took me under their wings and helped me out a lot. So I was very
Donald, do you regret that yet?
What's funny is I was actually friends with Donald for a couple of years before me and Rebecca ever even met. And now, you know.
They're awesome. They are. They're awesome. I only met them the one time, but they're both good people.
Be thankful it wasn't more than that.
I only ever spoke with Doyle a few times online. I never, unfortunately, got to have the chance to meet him in person.
There's so many that have passed, and you know, only a handful's from COVID that we have, you know, and I've only been in the field myself 5 years. So I didn't know a lot of them.
See, I'll be honest with you guys. I actually keep a list of all the, you know, paranormal investigators who've passed over the years, and we're not just talking, you know, most recent deaths. These are like well-known paranormal figures who've died in over the last 100 years, or even more than that.
You know,
So, what's up, Carl?
since you said that, what we need to do maybe at the end of every year, do like a memorial.
Like a tribute.
Yeah, just like what they do, like on, like they do, like with well-known movie stars. Like you guys remember the channel? I know it's not available as much anymore. Turner Classic Movies, where they show like a lot of the old movies. Right before the new year, they would have this whole tribute of, I can't remember how it started first, but eventually it was to honor all of those, you know, actors, singers, producers, directors, all of whom who passed away throughout the year. So that's a good idea, actually.
It would be great. The only problem I can see maybe happening is, you know, we all have our circles, and most of us are in the same circle, or at least know people in that circle. But what about the ones that we don't know? What about,
Right.
you know, it's going to make somebody feel bad somewhere, like they were left out.
And if everybody puts it out there, and that's gonna be one time everybody comes together, and you know,
Well, if you announce it in the beginning and it comes across that way, you know, that these are people that are in our circle, I don't think you're being disrespectful to
And then
anybody else.
you could also put something in there like, and for all the ones that, you know, we may have missed.
Right.
See,
We need to start putting it out now. is
Yeah,
what
well,
needs to
here's-
happen if we're going to do it for the end of this year.
So here's actually one thing I just kind of thought about. I know it's been well over a year since I've made it, but when I made, for example, the Paraunity COVID video, if you guys remember, right at the end, after I showed as many paranormal groups and names as I could, the last part of it showed, this is for all those who passed away, not just from COVID, but from other
Mhm.
causes.
Right.
That was kind of my concern about adding names. Like, even if I got the majority of them, that may be great and all, but there might be others, like you guys just said, I may have accidentally missed. So I just kind of thought it was probably better for me to not really name those who passed away and just kind of have that title kind of represent those that I know about and others that we don't know about that passed throughout that year. So I thought it was a much better way to honor those who passed away.
It's like when you're dealing with people that you didn't have the opportunity to hang around too much. And then all of a sudden you meet them one time.
Yeah.
And that happened to me, and I knew Christopher Sutton.
Oh my God, Christopher, I miss him so much.
And we were down at the Haunted Hour. Every year we're there. We have our tickets. It's sold out like 2 hours after the show's over for the next year. So it's the same people all the time. And he was there, and I was speaking, and he was speaking right behind me. Or he was speaking, and I was speaking behind him. And I would prefer it to be that way. But anyway,
Y'all keep talking. I'm gonna go grab something.
Go ahead, Greg.
Anyway, as it turned out, at the end, the about 2 hours that we had while we were waiting to go on, were all between him and me. And it's like we were having our own little conversation. And as I was leaving, I turned around and I said, "Damn it, we didn't get a picture."
Mm.
And he looked at me and he smiled and he said, "You'll get your picture." Nothing has happened yet, but just the look he had on his face, and it wasn't even 2 months, and he was gone.
Yep.
And I can remember going ahead and going, "What?"
I was devastated when we lost him, because for example, when he was on whenever he would be on a show and I'd watch, give my support, it's like he treated me like I was a son to him. He would always be like, "Hey, that's my boy Nick," and oh man, it just doesn't. And you know what? There actually was one other. There was one other time I remember we did some kind of. I guess we did an EVP session. No, a Ghost Box session. And this was literally like a few months after Chris passed away. My name came up in the Ghost Box, and the voice we heard was Chris. So apparently, he's also kind of been looking out, not only just for me, but for a lot of us. So,
well, you know Brandon Cooper, right?
Yeah, I remember Brandon.
Brandon Cooper's a shaman.
Remember him? There was a lady. Who was she?
Eileen.
She died 2 years ago, maybe 3 now, and she was a shaman. And she had that. She was just so, I don't know.
Oh,
she
I know
was
what you're
magnetic, and she would go to cemeteries and stuff. I met her about 6 months before she passed, and she knew she was going to pass. And she would talk to me about, she's okay, she's ready. And I thought, you can't really be ready. There's no way that you can be at peace. I was just thinking about myself, putting myself in her shoes. There's no way. And she was like, "No, I really am. I'm fine." And she would go to cemeteries even before this and have those little rods or whatever they call them of the ectoplasm and things like that. And she had them in so many pictures. And she said, "I'd like for people to continue this album after I'm gone." And I've got that album, and it's just so many pictures over and over and over of these things. And they're just so neat.
I want to show y'all something. So I got a lot of paranormal stuff and all that, but my family is like, okay, it needs to go in my craft room, whatever is not allowed out. This is the only thing that since the day I got it that can stay in my living room. This came from Cecilia from Crazy Cat Paranormal. I don't know if y'all can see it.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow. That's
It's a
awesome.
baseball, and then it's got the house from the house in between, and then she's got it's embroidered in the baseball.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Wow.
So I still actually they just had a memorial not that long ago, but I still this stays in my living room, and I never met her. She came down after I left the group. She came down, her and her husband, and she was so we bonded not over paranormal, we bonded over embroidery and the Buffalo Bills because she was from New York.
Ugh.
So, but yeah, so I mean, that's my little
That's
exhibit
awesome.
Wow.
and everything.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
incredible.
And she passed, they just, like I said, they just had her memorial. I had to watch it online because I couldn't get to New York. But she
See-
lived in Texas.
See, here's the thing.
Brent-
I mean, you guys probably know this all too well, but like the times, like for example, whenever we know that there's an investigator who passed, like whether I met them or not, you guys have obviously been probably been familiar. I put together those music posts with that song by Metallica. To me, it's a song that kind of feels like fits in with our community. That's why I use that one repeatedly more than any others. But also more additionally, it's considering that we all come from different states and in some cases other countries, it's the closest we could ever have to kind of like, if you want to use the term paranormal funeral together, just coming together and pay our respect for that investigator who passed away. And that's why I always leave the same sentence right at the end of each post, which is now you can finally look for all the answers we've been looking for.
Okay, I didn't mean to get on the sad subject.
No,
Yeah, no.
That was fine.
Donald has this nice thing about
And
you, Eileen.
Donald, I might be like a virus, but at least I'm not like you and an STD I can't get rid of.
Anyway,
Something you want to tell me?
On that note, I can't even bring up Brandon Cooper. I should just stop for a minute.
Donald, it's the song Nothing Else Matters from the early 90s.
Right.
I should know those, and I don't. I was country the whole time.
My
more the old-
playlist is so far out there. I have got some Hank Williams Sr. I've got some Usher. I got some 50 Cent. I got some George Strait. I've got some Metallica.
I'm more of the oldies, metal, and holiday music guy.
Did you say 50 Cent?
50 Cent.
Oh my God, if you really said that, that reminds me. I'll never look at that name the same way again because I'm just even thinking right now because I've grown up with South Park and there was that one episode called Tree Fit with Tree Fitty in it.
Look, I've even got musicals.
You know what I'm talking about, Greg.
Mine is country. Mine is country and Rodney Carrington.
I got some Rod Stewart.
Do you know
I'm
who
also a
Rodney
big Alice
Carrington is,
Cooper fan.
Eileen?
I do not know Rodney Carrington.
Look him up.
Brad.
Look him up.
Anything ever happens
If
to me,
anybody
Eileen,
in
is
the
on the
audience
top
knows
of this
who he
stuff.
is, put one of the
Shelby.
songs in chat.
I've even got some Ray Stevens on mine.
Some
Okay,
people are
that's
going.
closer. That's getting closer.
Ray
They call
Ray
him the street.
Stevens.
I love how Shelby knows exactly what I'm talking about. That Loch Ness monster from South Park. Need about Tree Fitty.
Who am I looking for?
Rodney Carrington.
What's up, Jenny? Good to see
I
you.
want to see if anybody in the audience here can put up one song name of his.
Is
Hey,
he a
Eileen,
comedian?
Jill
What
wants
is
you to sing some Usher.
You don't want me singing crap. I think
ACDC, yes.
What'd you
What's up,
ask?
Joanne?
Is he a comedian?
He is, but he's a singing comedian.
See, show them to me. Put your clothes back on and titties and beer.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And then he's got deer penis. And I was dancing with a man.
Hold on, let's see. Hold on.
Where the hell are you guys
I'm
finding
scared to
these
play. We're
songs?
get kicked off.
I went to see him in concert. I've got his CD.
This is why I
And-
stick to a lot of
and
the
they did-
oldies and metal stuff.
That was
I
like the
can see
funniest
that's
moment
why
ever because
that's why you go back into the shadows, Nick.
we're in the front row. And I've got my stepson next to me. So, and my husband on this side. And he's singing Show 'Em to Me, which is one of the last songs they do and the girls do. And I'm like,
Oh, that's set up.
yeah.
That's
And
yeah.
I'm
that's,
like,
that's not right.
I can't do that with my stepson next to me.
Joe.
See, Greg, listen. I'm from the South, so we talk like this, and
Shelby,
we keep talking
been-
like this, okay?
I've
gotta
been
keep
there
up
for a
my
long
accent.
time.
And my
I was
accent-
down in Enterprise, Ozark, Alabama. I
Oh,
was there
Alabama.
for almost a full year in the
Alabama's worse than
service.
Mississippi.
Rucker.
it is. I thought it was about the same equal as Mississippi.
Ooh, we don't
Those
like
titties and beer,
Alabama.
Shelby.
I
Would you do that? Let me know.
Mississippi's a very nice state. No, it's not.
Eileen, it sounded like we couldn't hear you for a second.
We couldn't. There's no reason.
Oh, okay.
She's saying it's hot and you're not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, you should know. I mean, I'm sure you're getting the same weather. I mean, it's actually been really nice up here today.
I had to
So I'm
get
in
all my
concert back
garlic.
during
In.
that time.
All my garlic went in today.
Oh, really?
I had to
coming to
plant
your
all
house.
my garlic.
I'm coming to your house.
That's because
Hey,
of
you
the
got to come to
vampires.
you got to come to my house first, Eileen, because I'm on the way to Greg's house.
The only way I'll come to Nick's house is if my cup is sitting on the porch before I
Oh, please check the PM. Okay.
Was that
That
the
ended
cup from Selena's?
Yeah, it's the cup
That's
that
it.
she tried stealing.
The same cup.
Warren, he
That's
said
it.
if I dressed up for Halloween on the show, he would give me the cup. But no, it was if I had to go see my daddy, so I had to miss the show. It was if I was able to show up. Dang, I should have jumped off for like 5 seconds, and I would have been on the show and got my cup.
Well, you know what, Eileen? I was actually at another Spirit Halloween just a few
What?
days. Like I was at a Spirit Halloween just a few days ago, and they had that same cup at the store. If you showed up, I would have got it for you.
What? What? Anthony, what?
Wait. Anyone else watch Greg's annual garlic clove eating videos? What?
Greg, tell us.
I love garlic cloves.
I
Brad, I didn't.
every year at the end of the harvest, which is in July, I will take a sampling. Usually it's one that I have grandkids that usually take it out. And if they bruise a bulb, I will take off that clove and I'll take an individual clove and I usually have them film it and I'll eat it. And this year, out of all the years I've done it, this year was the year that it was the hottest. It was so hot. It was like wasabi by 10.
Oh wow!
And I started with the hiccups. And I'm going, but it was a lot of fun.
PMs, please. Jordan said to tell you.
But you get a chance to get a real good idea of what's going on with it that way.
Wow. Brad, I didn't bring it with me to Perry-Unity. It's talking about the cup.
I think he's just trying to make me jealous.
Eileen, do you use a lot of garlic when you cook?
Oh yes.
Oh, it's good.
How's your garlic down there?
This thumb is as brown as it can be. So even tomato plants and me don't get along.
Do you need a Band-Aid for that, Eileen?
Look, I had to go to Donald's house and try to steal some blueberries and some other stuff.
Oh, so you've had a history of trying to steal stuff, not just the cup. There's something you want to tell me?
That little gangster in me. Okay? It might
That's
be
the one with Jack.
produce and veggies and all that, but I got a little gangster in me.
Well, you know what? Okay, Jill says I do to repel all the vampires. It's a test. Well, you know what? I wouldn't be able to have. I wouldn't have had garlic the other night since I was a vampire for Halloween. Jill, the vampire hunter.
There's so many different varieties. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, see, like we were fighting about are we gonna put garlic in our tacos? And I was like,
The
well, why
rules haven't
not?
changed. You still have
Oh
to.
wait, yeah, I did have it. Now I remember. Yep.
Oh, Brad, if you would have gotten it, oh, there would have been heck to pay.
You know, Eileen would have been stalking you then, Brad.
Mm-mm. I would have been killing Nick. And pretty much.
That's
So,
awesome.
Greg,
I know it's
so
Ferrazzo.
how often are you able to get out and investigate?
Lately, not very much.
Hey,
I
what's
have
going
a
on?
couple.
Slow.
I have a couple local places that I like to frequent just to do a lot of spirit box work. And believe it or not, there are historical societies
Mhm.
that I happen to be a member of, and I'm involved with, and I know who's there, and we have some great nights, and then we have nights that they're not there, and that's just because they're home visiting their relatives or whatever, and they're not there all the time.
Right.
I don't think I'd want to live in a historical society, but
Which historical
want-
society? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Nick.
I was gonna say which historical society was this, Greg?
do you want me to give names?
No. I'm just saying if this was a historical, like which historical.
Sure.
It's a historical society for two different towns up here. One of them is Fox Lake,
Fox Lake, I know of. Yep.
and then the other one's Lake Villa. And Lake
that's
Villa, I'm a board member there.
Nice.
I joined not locally. I joined the Newton County Historical Society. It's about an hour away from me. But the reason I joined that one was because I'm a huge ancestry nerd, and my great grandfather is a founding father of Mississippi. He actually developed the town of Decatur, which is in Newton County, the county seat of Newton County. And so I wanted to do that one because I was hoping to find some of his old homesteads that might still be standing and see about investigating some of them. I mean, because I feel that if no one's ever looked for him in my family and he's around, I'd like to know about more about my family history.
Right.
But I thought being blood it would do, but they were really not open to it. So I was like, eh. But at least I did get to go and see like documentations, which the courthouse burned, so it's not legal documentations. There's some land that the courthouse is on in Decatur, all the way down to where there's a community college on the land. That it says if the courthouse ever moves, all that land becomes Hollingsworth land again. But of course, the courthouse burned, so the legal papers are gone. But all we have is family papers. But I got to find out a lot more by joining it and going through all the records, and it was kind of neat joining that.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I did it for personal gain.
Well,
Greg,
it all works out in the end,
Mm-hmm.
Greg,
as far as that's concerned.
Oh, I'm
Go
sorry. No, I was going to let you speak first, and then I had another question. Of my
I was
own.
going to ask Eileen, how close are you to the Tennessee border?
About 3 hours, depending on what side you go to. If I go to Memphis, it's about 3.
Wait, what?
You're really close. You're really close to Old South Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's where we actually had Doyle's first memorial investigation. Donald and his wife set it up, and we did a 2-night investigation there.
Ronnie's a real close friend of mine.
Hey,
Yeah,
Donald?
He's from Fox Lake.
oh, I gotta tell you a story. Do you go to OSPH a lot?
I've been there, yeah, twice.
Okay, so I gotta tell you the funny Donald story. This is probably one of my funniest investigations I've ever been to. So
Oh boy, here we go.
And so you know the break room in there, and it's got the 2 bathrooms, but the bathrooms are not used. You can't use them. So we're in the break room, and you have to use a flashlight.
Oh, Donald,
So
he
you
knows
have
where this is going.
You have to use a flashlight to go to the bathroom. So Donald came in. He's like, and so I gave him my little lantern or whatever. He goes to the bathroom. He comes back, and I go to get the lantern. And I was like, oh, the bathroom must be right here in the break room because it really stinks. And if anybody's ever stayed the night with Donald, he really stinks when he lets one go. And
I'm sorry.
But I was like, gosh. So I was trying to get in the door. He's like, no, it's not that door. It's down the hall. It's like, okay. So I went down the hall. I come back, and Rebecca, his wife, pulled me aside in the hallway, and she goes, Eileen, I've got kind of a personal question to ask you. I was like, what? She goes, did you fart? I'm like, no, but I smelled it. I said, what was that? I said, it reeked. She goes, well, I asked Donald, and excuse me, did you shit? And he said, no. So we were trying to figure out what this smell was. This smell lingered for hours, and I am not exaggerating. What's her name? Ashley?
Yes.
So she was sitting around sniffing, trying to find because they thought there was a sewer leak somewhere. So she was walking around the break room sniffing. I mean, again, and I promise you, about 3 hours, this smell was still there. So we get back to the hotel.
God.
And so we're sitting there, and Donald's at the computer desk because we were all in one hotel room. Donald's at the computer desk pulling up the app, getting all the EVPs, downloading all. Rebecca's in their bed. I'm in my bed. Donald turns around and says, I got a secret.
Oh no. Oh no.
We're like, what? What's your secret? He goes, it was me. We're like, what? He goes, I farted.
What? How's that last for 3 hours though?
And so we're sitting there. And so when we got home, I made him call Ashley because I didn't know her. I said, you are going to tell her it was you, that I did not do that.
Dutch oven.
It was so funny. So now we're like, wait, you lied. You lied to your wife. He goes, nuh-uh. She asked if I shitted. I farted.
Wait, what the hell is this Dutch oven thing? What is this?
Where you fart underneath the covers and cover someone's head with it.
Why is it called a Dutch oven though? I don't get it. What's the whole idea of calling
You're
it a Dutch
muted,
oven?
Adrian.
Oh wait, sorry.
Adrian, you're muted.
Sorry, that was my fault. Because there was a lot of feedback going on when you left, so I muted just so. Well, no, background noise. So I just
I'm out of this one. I'm not going to answer.
I can't believe you do not know what that is.
I really don't. I really don't. I'm being serious.
Told you a year ago we're a bad influence on you, and we are teaching you things you should not know.
I got to ask.
He's getting
Donald
so
this.
much. He's getting so much information. His head's going to explode.
Yeah, it's gonna eventually. So I'm just gonna say this for Donald, what he said here. So did Eileen ever follow the Yellow Brick Road?
Right. Wouldn't that make me the nice bitch?
You must have followed the Red Brick Road then. Poor Nick. Pickle Tom, he's on.
Pickle.
We got echo.
I'm hearing feedback from someone's.
I'll go mute. Y'all keep talking. I'm gonna go mute and test it.
I don't hear it when you're talking.
I thought I heard some echo. Adrian, I think that might be you, actually.
Did you hear it when I was talking?
I don't hear when you're talking, but I can hear myself on your end.
I have nothing else on. Nothing.
Echo-tastic.
Linda.
Oh,
I'm
Eileen. Okay, one of the funniest part was Ashley sniffing around for it. She sniffed it like it was a line of cocaine. Yeah, they're saying that they could hear it when I'm talking.
Testing. Testing.
Hello.
No, it's not coming from your side, Eileen.
Reginald, how's that your fault? I'm the only one not echoing.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I should say hi. I should say hi to Reggie.
Oh, Rud. You
I've
know who that is?
never echoed.
You hear it?
I
don't.
hear everybody else echoing.
I'm
Adrian,
gonna
what'd you do?
mute mine. I don't know. I'm gonna mute mine, and you guys talk and see if the echo goes away.
All right. Testing.
It's
Testing.
not there.
Yeah, it's coming from Adrian's side. Yeah.
It's probably in that
Of course it is.
sunflower, that UFO that's disguised as a sunflower.
Greg is
That's in
echoing too.
Who is me?
No, we think it's everybody else
Tom knows
is
the
echoing
StreamYard.
except Adrian.
Yeah, they say that even Shelby saying she hears the echo on everyone but Adrian.
Bad girl, Adrian.
Yeah, so it's almost 7:30, and since nothing else is on but the game in the other room, I don't know.
No. I'm just going through the comments. Go ahead. What you were saying.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
thought I
it's
heard
definitely my fault. So, since I'm not going to be able to fix that mess, I am going to say goodnight.
Hold on. Alexa, play Metallica.
You were doing that for Brad, weren't you?
I did something nice for Brad.
Watch it.
There's actually there were two other questions that came up earlier. I think this was one of them. Greg is learning the history of a important to your investigations.
Yes.
What about, do you like knowing the history before or after the investigation?
I think it's important to, since I'm not using any gifts, that I would go in there just strictly looking for information, that I would love to, or confirmation on information. I would go in there that way.
See, I do both. If it's because I'm like you, if I have gifts, I haven't tapped into them other than a little empathic possibly, but I don't know if it's that or if it's just the fact that I can read people. I don't know, but and maybe not too well because I have been burned a lot. But
What does that mean, Jill?
but if it's if I'm going like whenever we went to the temple in Kansas, it's a 15-hour drive. I'm going to do the history beforehand in case something pops up that I can know later. But if it's something more local that I can get back to, I want to go in blind so that I can see what I get and then study and then go back.
That's a very good way of looking at it. It's a way that, I could take into consideration too. I mean, because we all learn from each other. There's nobody that has all the answers when it comes to things of this nature.
You guys know all too well, like I always do a lot of the research right before I investigate, because that's, to me, I even at times have said, unless you guys, whoever's investigating with me, unless you want to hear the history of it, for those that don't, I would suggest you may want to please leave the premises of this room now so you don't hear it.
Eileen's got a valid point when it comes to the fact that she's got a local location
Yeah,
that she can go back to,
right.
which makes a big difference. It's just like Fox Lake. They had a tavern in Fox Lake back in the day. It was called the Puppet Bar.
The Puppet Bar.
The Puppet Bar. And in the Historical Society, they had 4 puppets in there from the Puppet Bar. And we would you'd come into that one room where they were in this case. And I'll tell you what, I felt a lot of weird energy in my time, but this energy was out of bounds. And it was the puppets. And now the person that had the puppets got them back. They were on lease to the Historical Society. And they got the puppets back, and now that room is, you could go in there and play ping pong. Wouldn't make any darn difference.
Wow.
See now, like I did a local investigation one time out in Vicksburg, but it was a public event, and I had never been to this location before. So there was someone else that I was going to be with, and I did a lot of research, wrote everything down in a book. But when they wanted to ask me questions, I was like, not until the end of the investigation, because I don't ever want to. I'm like, Nick, I don't want to have someone know the name Joe and think they hear Joe, and it might not be. I want to know what you get. And so what I did in that case, I kept it all in a book. We did the wrap up at the end of the night, and there was a psychic that was there that I took her through, but she had no access to my book. And so at the end of the night, I let the other teams, the other groups say what they got first. And then I told them what we got during the investigation. And then I said, okay, well, here's the history I found on the house, which they did a history tour, but I dug deeper than what the history tour would have done. And because we told them to go light on the history, because we, again, didn't want to, we had a lot of non-investigators there. So I wanted to kind of prove, not prove, but you know what I mean, by try to turn some non-believers around. And so I was reading off, and some of the stuff was like spot on to what I had researched. And so again, that one I didn't go in blind, even though it's local, just because I knew we had so many people who were not paranormal investigators and who were skeptics going to this event, that I wanted to use that opportunity to try to turn things around for them.
A lot of time you hear that fact where if you hear names from pre-investigation from your research, that you can actually will it into like a spirit box for the name to come up. So that's one of the things that I've looked at quite a few times lately, is the fact that then I don't want to know.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And Shelby, it's the book. I take a book with me no matter where I go, so I can document anything that's going on, so that I can, when I'm going back and listen to EVPs, a lot of times I'll document what time or what names we got, because I do go in, like the hospital. It's a local hospital. It's abandoned, but we used to be able to go back a lot until someone passed away that was letting us in. But yeah, so I could use that, what we got, in part of my researching of it.
It's really, really cool.
Where'd Adrian go, by the way?
She said she was going to cut it short because she had the echoing and she had some other things going on.
Okay.
That's why I said play Metallica. I was trying to give her goodbye.
Nick, even when you moved to that side, you still got the eraser head.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's because I have the green screen right behind me. That's why.
Eileen doesn't. That's for sure.
I got my
You're
banner.
in a closet. You're like in a closet, Eileen.
Well, okay. I don't know how y'all's houses are up there, but this part of my house used to be the carport, and this would be where my water heater's right there. And so this would be your your carport storage or your garage storage. Well, now it's the internal part of my house. So it's now my craft room that also holds a lot of my bottles.
Now I
Wow.
understand why you really want that cup. You want to add it to your collection of bottles.
Yes. Well, actually, funny, all these are empty. I make lamps out of wine bottles. That's
You
my
don't-
excuse to be able to drink wine, okay?
You know what? You just gave me an idea, Eileen. I mean, can I possibly send you a Gorilla Glue bottle that's empty so you can decorate that one?
Only if you send me. Oh, Greg. Greg, I think you might like this. Hold
A
on.
utility. You call that a utility room, Jeremy says.
Okay, I call it my craft room, okay? So let's just get that clear.
How
Greg, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
Huh?
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
How old am I?
Uh-huh.
Too old.
Do you ever watch Westerns?
Yeah.
I got
I'm
got this from my daddy. I gave it to him when I was little. We call him Clyde. He's an
Clyde?
old. We call him Clyde. He's got a name. He's an old cowboy,
Yeah.
and he's got his horse, which is, kind of really. a
That's
sad
really
horse.
cool.
But that's Clyde. So Clyde is. I stole it from my daddy when he went in the nursing home. He told me to go get Clyde. I said, "Don't worry, I already got Clyde."
That's like,
Jeremy's dad watches westerns all the time.
If you get in the real old westerns, my dad used to take me to the theater all the time when I was a kid, and I was petrified to go to the bathroom by myself because of the way the theater was.
Was it like Wild Western style or something?
Well,
or-
no. It was the energy
Okay.
in the bathroom. Even if you were watching Kirk Douglas, or you were watching Boot Hill, or you were watching, a lot of movies. I mean, the original gunfight at OK Corral with Kirk Douglas. That's like historic movies. I used to see those all the time.
See, I remember going. This is right when Twister came out, so it wasn't like. I'm gonna pretend like it wasn't that long ago.
Oh, it was 96.
Shut up. So
This was like yesterday.
I know this is like 2 months ago when
Yeah.
Twister came out, and
I remember I was only like 3 when that came out.
we were at. Shut up, Nick. We were at a drive-in movie theater. And when that scene of them at the drive-in or at the drive-in with the Twister came up, and it was kind of one of those dark, cloudy nights, anyways. Oh my God! I was like, "Get me out of here! Get me out of here!" It's kind of like watching Jaws in the ocean.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, did you know there actually was? There's an urban legend involving a drive-in theater involving a tornado. Did you ever hear of that one, Eileen?
I'm sure that happened a lot.
There was well, no, when it came out, there was an urban legend that supposedly a tornado actually went to affected a drive-in theater, and they were while the movie Twister was being played in Oklahoma. Well,
Oh, wow.
unfortunately, it's kind of been debunked since then because it turns out in reality, the Twister did in fact hit a drive-in, and the theater that was this drive-in was scheduled to show Twister at that evening, but they didn't play it before the Twister hit. So
they found people in other cars where they weren't supposed to be.
Exactly.
Wonder what they were doing in other cars that they weren't supposed to be in.
It's like, what's
Right.
that on everything?
That's what the driving was all about.
So 50 years ago for you, Eileen.
We were there to watch the movie. Okay?
You remember when 2001: A Space Odyssey came out?
No,
The original movie.
I never got into those.
Which
Yeah,
movie?
that's
But Nick probably did.
2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh my God! Yeah, I've seen 2001.
Well, I saw it at the Outdoor.
Oh my God! Really?
The old 53 drive-in.
That is just okay. So I got to ask this then, because since this was released in 1968, were there people on substances watching it? Because
A few.
yeah, because I've heard like people say that
I have no idea how many.
You were not involved in that. and that's all
I had trouble as soon as I opened up the car door. I sort of fell down, and I was crawling to go to the bathroom.
You know what? That's funny. I'm surprised because I gotta say this now, because I actually heard this from an interview of Stephen King. He said that one time he actually was he went to go see 2001. He was high on peyote, and that was quite a that was quite a trip. So, Greg, I'm surprised you didn't see Stephen King there.
I wouldn't have recognized him anyway. The way things are going like that, and up and down, and a lot of times in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Holiday Inn, Christmases, Canadians, you name it, and what the Canadians do are just unbelievable.
A.
Dare. Over Dare by Dare.
Brad's asking, did Hurricane Eileen go through that drive?
Brad, be nice. I was being nice to you, trying to get Adrian's Alexa to play Metallica. Okay.
I wouldn't have minded having Eileen in the car with me at the drive-in. I don't know what your problem is.
Somebody likes me. Hey, Rich. Rich and his wife are good investigators. If you ever get a chance to investigate with them, definitely do so.
Okay.
There's a famous cemetery called Boot Hill Cemetery.
Yeah, Boot Hill.
Where's that at?
That's Tombstone, isn't it?
Is that here in Illinois, or is that?
No. That's Boot Hill. That's where all the cowboys are buried.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of cowboys, so I'm debating on. Again, the house I'm renovating is from the 70s. It is literally still got green shag carpet that I finally get to start ripping up. I'm down to concrete in one room. But it had the old the saloon doors that went into the kitchen, into the living room, and it's a sunken living room. I'm debating on whether or not I want to find some more saloon doors and put them in.
1770. What? What the hell is that supposed
Brad
to mean?
found some peyotes and kind of,
Hey, Brad, what's 1770?
Is that the same one? Is that the same one? Same one of what?
Is that the same one, Greg Koss? There was a movie, that had Boot Hill in the title.
You have a lot of good
these guys said the house is from 1770.
Oh, okay, from the 70s, yeah.
Well,
so wait, this conversation with a spirit. Eileen.
I'm kind of a little jealous with all my friends because most of my friends see things and they get touched. I'm kind of like Donald, where I don't really get a lot of activity. So I don't know. Now I get activity like when I get home and listen to things. But as far as while it's going on, I don't know if I'm too blocked sometimes. Or I've heard that my aunt stays with me, several people, including Beth, which I'm sure you know Beth Allen, Greg. She's one of my sisters. But she says my aunt stays with me, and my aunt pretty much keeps a lot of things away from me. And I keep telling my aunt to back up just a little bit. Because, I mean, like, people, like, next to me will get touched, and I'm just sitting here going, okay.
Are you sitting down when this is happening to them?
I don't sit down much.
Well, I'm just asking because if you're more pacifistic, if you're sitting down, correct?
Yes.
So that you could go ahead and be a little more relaxed, and they would be more, even with the aunt being there, they'd probably be a little more at ease with approaching you, as far as if you put your hand out. You know what I'm saying?
I think my problem is Now, do I believe in spirits? Yes. Do I believe when I see things going on? Yes. So, but I'm an evidence skeptic. I think I second guess myself way too much. Like people who investigate with me know if I come out and say, I just saw a shadow, that I have analyzed that shadow probably for 20 minutes before I tell you I saw a shadow. So I think that's part of my problem is I overanalyze the evidence because I don't want to say something's evidence if it's really not.
Right.
And I was so proud of myself. I think I said this a couple of weeks ago. I had this sense of that this teenage girl that was with us on an investigation, a public event, that she had abilities. And I actually pulled her and her mother aside with Donald and Rebecca, but I pulled them aside and I was like, it started getting more information with this girl. Kind of found out even her mother feels she's got abilities. And because something in my gut told me, don't let this girl leave without knowing that there's people she can reach out to, because I was scared she would think she was crazy. So that was the first time I listened to my gut. And I'm hoping they weren't feeding me a crock of crap, but it was like they were really open because things have been happening. So I was so excited. Like I picked up the phone and called Chrissy and Beth. And I was like, y'all, I followed my gut for the first time. So I think that's my thing. I think I overanalyze.
And that's just your intuition.
Yeah.
And that's, that's you have gifts.
But
Very obviously you have gifts. And, that's what's cool. And, it's just, if you want to take the time to go ahead and take them and run, it's at your pace. Nobody can tell you, how fast to go, where to go, any of that.
Beth said it'll hit me when it hits me. And when it hit me kind of that day at that last investigation we did. And Nick, I was telling you about it. So my husband doesn't talk about it much because he's still kind of in awe and shock. So we were leaving, and Donald's kind of like me. He doesn't get he gets activity, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't get touched a lot. He doesn't get all that. Well, that night he kind of opened himself up and he came up to the car and he looks and he just kind of looks to the side and he looks very perplexed. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? He says, something tells me to tell you to have a safe trip home. I was like, well, you tell me to have a safe trip home all the time. Okay. He goes, no, I really need you to be careful on the way home. And I was like, okay. He goes, I'm thinking like deer or something. I was like, okay. We got maybe 2 miles down the road.
God.
And here comes this thing. All I saw was a black figure. Like I thought it was a shadow of my husband. We have a Nissan Z. So we're low to the ground. And I thought it was a shadow in the middle of the road from the headlights, because they're the bright headlights. But I was like, well, this is weird. The shadow's kind of moving beside the car. Like instead of going with the car, the shadow's moving backwards. And then all of a sudden it was gone. And I looked at him. I was like, did you? He goes, did you just see that? I was like, yeah, it was like a black shadow. He goes, oh, it wasn't a shadow. I was like, what? He goes, this thing was about, again, Aziz kind of low, but it went up to his rear view mirror. He said he swerved a little bit because he thought his rear view, but his side mirror was going to hit it. And he started describing it was like a huge black dog. And he says he didn't feel fear. He kind of felt sad for it. I said, well, that's odd, because I literally looked down long enough to flick an ash in the ashtray. And so I was like, that's kind of weird, because if it would have been a dog, first of all, it would not have been that close to a vehicle going 50 miles an hour. Secondly, we would have seen it coming towards the car. It wouldn't have just been there. So we literally turned around. I turned my recorder on, and the way the street is, it's got a grassy medium in the middle. And it's 2 lanes going one way and then 2 lanes going another, but there's a big grass area in the middle. So we went and turned around, and I'm recording. This sucker was nowhere in sight, and it wasn't running. It was walking. like on 4 legs, but it was walking. So we turned back around to come back. Could not find this thing anywhere. He said it had, what did I tell you? Did I tell you it had silver eyes, Nick, when I sent you the message?
You might have, it was a long time ago that you sent that.
So they had
Yeah.
light. They look like lights.
I thought, because I'm in the passenger seat and I flick an ash and I look up and all I see is a shadow. So I thought it was the, like, you know, it's the dark and you got all your bright lights shining this way and you can kind of see blackness beside it. I thought it was that at first until I realized it was coming. It was moving away from us when it should, if it was his shadow, it should have still been going straight with us. But I realized that for a few seconds it was moving. But then my husband said because he's the driver, he physically saw it. He said if he would have reached his hand out, he could have touched it. And I remembered him kind of jerking to the right a little bit. But he said he jerked because he thought whatever it was, he was going to hit his side mirror. He said it was bigger than a dog. Because I mean, we have a German Shepherd. He said it was a lot bigger than that, and I forgot what he described it. But it had like, you know how a terrier has the long, I call it the beard. He said but it was all black, and it was like the long hair right around here hanging down. He said, but it just had sadness in its eyes. But we turned around. I even called Donald. I was like, Donald, it is so weird that you said that to me when I investigate with him all the time. And I said, he was going to be kind of coming the same way with me, but instead of turning like we did, he would have went straight. I said, I need you to keep an eye out and see if you see this. He didn't see it. Well, then we get down the road. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever. And not like I really don't care if anybody knows this, but I do suffer from panic attacks. But I never have a bad one. So I'm going down the road, or we're going down the road and I fall asleep in the car. I woke up and my panic attacks are if I can't breathe because I have bad sinuses and my fear of death is suffocation. So I woke up, I couldn't breathe. My throat felt like it was closing in to the point my husband thought I was going to jump out of the car going down the interstate. And so we had to finally, I was trying to cool down. I got overheated, all this. I had never had a panic attack this bad. And we finally, about an hour later, found a gas station. I went and got some Benadryl and walked around, got fresh air. And I was fine. But I was like almost to the point of saying, take me. I actually told myself, if I'm not better by the time we hit Jackson, take me to the emergency room. And I knew what it was. But I was like, what are the odds that Donald's going to say this to me, leaving an investigation? We see that. And kind of what Linda said was, I was wondering if whatever it was supposed to be some type of message because of how I had that panic attack not long after.
That's what she was asking.
So it was weird. It was weird. And he was supposed to draw it for me, but he says he can't do it.
Brad said it was like a cryptic.
Jill said it's a deer-like creature, native lands.
It was.
I believe more like a cryptid than anything else.
Yeah.
Like we got the Beast of Bray Road up
The
there.
Beast of Bray Road. Yep.
And there's been tons of people that see
A
that.
lot of people. That's been going on for decades.
And that's just
I
that's
have
an
a whole-
amazing story.
I have a whole
I-
file on it too, by the way.
We
I-
literally did not want to leave that area till we found it. But again, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and we had over an hour, like almost a 2-hour drive ahead of us. So, but we didn't want to leave. But I've never heard of anything like that in the area. And I'm not a cryptid person. I mean, that's Nick's cup of tea. And not that I disagree, I don't disbelieve it. It's just I focus my energy on paranormal. But I mean, I will if sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm going for a drive and I'm going to look up and I'm going to see if I see a UFO. Every now and then I'll do stuff like that. But I don't go searching or research on cryptids.
Did you watch the series Hellier?
I did not.
You need to watch Hellier.
What is it on?
Everything we've been talking about.
No, I mean, what, like Netflix, Hulu?
You can find it. I think you can find it on It's not. What's it? Amazon
Okay.
Yeah.
Prime, and I think it might be on Netflix. It's just amazing. I mean, I always thought about that kind of thing, but I never really got into it. And I used to spend a lot of time in that series, and that's the area of Kentucky, because I fished professionally for muskies. So we went and did the whole circuit. And I did that for over almost 15 years. So I knew all the boys from West Virginia, and I knew the boys from Kentucky. And, we'd be out in our boats and we'd be chawing back and forth. And, well, you guys got that big flying guy,
Mothman.
and that would be me saying it to them, and they'd come back and go, ah, shit, you know what we got the grays. And I was going, grays, and he goes, yeah, they're little guys about this big. And after a while I found out exactly what they were talking about.
Yep.
And
I'm
that was
looking up what
Moorhead. We'd always hang around in Moorhead, Kentucky, Frenchburg, Kentucky, on the far side of Cave Run Lake. And they have houses out there that are backed right up to the mountains, and everybody gets their coal out of the old caves to heat their homes. And they'd go in them caves to get that coal.
Wow.
And that's where those caves are all attached and go all the way over to Missouri.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
So they're like miles.
You could put hundreds of miles. You could put a whole civilization down there and nobody would even know about it.
Jeez.
I'm writing down what people are saying it could have been, because I'm going to show my husband. So I just looked up the shadow wolf. And like I said, this is not something I really know.
See, I was going to say these big black dog-like creatures. I mean, yeah, they're sometimes called shadow wolves, but they also are kind of in association with hellhounds.
Yes.
Or shucks, as they're called in the black shucks, as they're known in the UK.
And I'm looking to see if this county is Native American, which, I mean, we are Mississippi,
so this was in Mississippi that you saw.
Yeah, it was actually in the Delta, up in Mississippi, and up in the Delta. It was probably about hours south of Tennessee.
But you got a lot of wild out there, don't you?
Yeah, and I mean, we had seen deer, and because when she mentioned, was it about the size of the deer? Now I'm remembering my husband saying, I kept saying there was something he said was the size of. He said it was the size of the deer. So I'm looking to see. Yeah, it is Native American land out there.
So Jill's asking, do we have a database yet for the public to post their parent location sites for the type of issues or personal events? I mean, the only thing I could really think of, because I know there are a couple of them, but ones I know as far as like cryptids is the BFRO, and also Lon Strickler takes a lot of the reports and posts them on his page.
Singular Fortean too.
So yeah, Singular Fortean. That's another one.
That's a good group too.
There's also this is more for the UK, but Paranormal Database, they do that over there as well.
I know I'm a member of Singular Fortean, and they've been doing a lot of work at O'Hare over Mothman.
Oh yeah, I've been doing the same exact I've been doing the same exact thing. I've done all those reports that have been coming in with the Mothman here in Chicago. I've been like writing them down like nonstop.
These last 4 or 5 are just unbelievable.
I can't believe it's still going on.
Yes.
I honestly thought there was a lull with the sightings. So I'm thinking, no, they're still going. Everyone thinks it's over. It's not. It's still going to this day.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I watch like stuff on Mothman and all. My husband, like I said, my husband's more the cryptid person, and I finally got him into paranormal. He believes he was a believer, but he just again he focused his studies on other things. I focused my studies on paranormal, and so at night when I normally I'm asleep before him, and he goes to bed with something on YouTube, one way or the other, and it's got something. The only thing he cannot watch at night is zombies because I will wake up in nightmares.
Well,
Me and zombies do not like each other.
I don't really
so
care
does
for
this
them
mean-
myself. Zombies are.
So you've never seen like Night of the Living Dead?
Now, I will not watch the closest I have ever watched on a zombie movie or a zombie show is iZombie because that was cute.
I think the
Eileen?
best one was 28 Days.
Yo,
See,
28 days later, but they weren't really zombies though. They were half
Whatever,
dead. They
well-
were infected people, half dead.
Well, I mean, you're going through a little hallway there, Nick. I mean, they're the same thing, aren't they?
Yeah, but zombies are undead. The people in 28 days are only half dead.
I think the way they move and just I don't know, it's just something about zombies, and I don't know.
Hey, Eileen, what if I gave you a deal that if I come down to Mississippi and I show you Night of the Living Dead, I will give you that cup then.
I can't. I literally. All right, so it's kind of like this. I have this weird thing that happens to me when I watch movies. So I told you before, I do like blood and guts, don't get me wrong, but I like more the old school stuff that you have to visualize in your head what happened. I don't want to sit there and watch someone's arm being sawed off because then my arm starts hurting. I'm like,
Yes,
oh,
they are.
gosh, that hurts. So I think that's part of my problem with zombies is I sit there and look at them and I just start feeling all icky.
No cup for you then. And yes, Jill, they are coming out with a third one finally after like 15 years after they made the last one because they made 28 Days Later 20 years ago in 2002. Then they made a second one in 2007 with 28 weeks later. Now they're finally doing one called 28 Months Later.
You see, you go through a whole period on the cowboy end of it with like Sam Peckinpah as a director, where everything is in slow motion. So when these guys are pulling their guns and shooting, and people are getting hit, they just don't fall over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like doing one of these things and they're going back like they're swimming,
Uh-huh.
and then they go down. And that, out of all the cowboy movies, that was the next one in the series that really, really got to me.
Now I tell you what now. You give me anything with some Sam Elliott in there.
Well,
That's
I
my
don't know what.
husband.
I don't know why he didn't make that. Why he wasn't in there, because Elliot would have fit right in.
Look, that
Now
is
you
my
get-
future. I don't care if that man's 200 years old. That is my future ex-husband, okay?
You go ahead and you do that, and then you give him the cowboy hat that hangs down on the side and it's pushed up in the front, okay, like a Rough Rider, that kind of thing, and then you got it down pat.
So, Eileen, I'm just going to say this now, since he would be your future ex-husband. That would fit perfectly for Brad's ex-wife.
No, she's not here now. I might keep him around for a little bit. He can keep his money too. Sam Elliott can keep his money. He's just a good-looking man.
Yeah, but he would be your ex-husband though, and
He's got a
Brad's
great
ex-wife, they're both exes.
voice. Great voice. Absolutely
Yeah.
awesome voice. My late mom was helped us.
I don't know now. I mean,
That looks like that's Courtney.
that's Anthony. I mean, no. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Courtney.
Yes, it's Courtney.
Yeah, it's Courtney.
That's Courtney Karras.
Why you have your name different?
Why do I have my
It's
name
the
different?
No.
mustache. No, it's
Courtney.
the mustache.
It might be, and it might be just the way he carries himself. He's so okay. I gotta stop. So
Well, now we know. Now we know, Nick.
It's recorded, and it's recorded now too, Eileen. So there's
I
nothing you
ain't,
can do
I
about
am
it.
not ashamed.
The
Everybody
lady,
thinks their
the
whole
lady
thing
is
after-
that she was saying I was blushing before. She's really blushing.
You
now.
know, everybody after oh gosh dang it, what's her name? The lady that just died. What's her name? Golden
Dolly.
What
Girl.
lady?
Dolly Parton.
No, Golden Girl. Golden Girl.
What the hell,
But
Samuel?
when she died, Betty White, when she died,
Betty
everybody was talking
White.
about putting a salt circle around everybody. Mine was Sam Elliott. I'm putting a salt circle around Sam Elliott.
You know what, Brad? You may want to do the same thing for your ex-wife. Sam
Hey,
Elliott,
Brad?
James Earl Jones, and Morgan Freeman, the three voices that can narrate anything.
Have you looked up and seen where some of those people are from? Booyah.
Well, Betty White is from our area. Was from our area,
Yeah, well, we were
Chicago.
talking about good voices. We were talking about awesome men with voices.
Hey, I got a good voice. You've heard my narrations.
Morgan Freeman's from the Delta here in Mississippi. And I think James Earl Jones is from here too. Hold on.
His best was definitely the ballpark one.
Yeah. James
I
Earl
think.
Jones is from Argabutla. I can't say that one. Mississippi. Gosh, he's 91 years old.
He's
Oh, yeah.
91. Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he's from Mississippi too. I think that's the Delta. But so Morgan Freeman and James Earl Jones are from Mississippi. That's why they have awesome voices.
Where's Sam Elliott from?
Probably Texas or no, or is it Missouri? He's a country boy. He truly probably is. He's got, oh no, he needs to be from Mississippi. He needs to come to Mississippi.
My
He
father
is-
grew a mustache like his.
He is actually from Sacramento, California.
Oh, okay.
What the heck?
Hey, what about Samuel L. Jackson narrations, as Jill asked?
Let's see where he's from.
Okay, so now I think we're starting to realize Eileen will be the person that will look up where everybody's from when we bring up somebody. Because you're really good at this.
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C., okay.
Well, you're pretty
Fun.
fast on the trigger there, lady.
That's what I'm saying. She's going to have to now be our Google searcher on the show.
I'm the historian too.
And the
Hello.
historian. I'm the historian, too.
I just need to be the historian of Sam Elliott, but that's okay.
You were doing a real good job on your show the other day with those people getting hacked up, Nick.
Oh, on the Grand King Y'all Theater, you saw that?
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
I was a little bit nervous because I wasn't sure if this was going to last too long, like staying up, but the entire thing, I did it successfully. So that was a really, that's actually one of my favorites I've ever done.
Yeah, it was really, really, really nice.
Other word would be muff with Jackson.
Oh, I gotta say something to Anita. It is your fault. I have gone and bought more cookbooks, and I almost bought that darn Jeffrey Dahmer cookbook to put up in my kitchen. It is your fault.
Brett, no, we're not doing 8 more hours tonight.
8 more hours to go tonight.
Oh, you guys. Oh, you got. Wait, Eileen, I thought you knew the story. No, you know this. You know that story.
I was part of one of the stories. I'm trying to go to bed. I'm even taking makeup off during the show.
So, Greg, I guess. So what happened was when Jeremy and I were still doing 13th Dimension a couple months back, we had Greg Backen on.
Okay.
And that was probably the longest show I think we've ever done. We were on that show. I'm not even joking. We were literally on that show from 7 o'clock my time till about 1:15 a.m. in the morning. So we were on for like 6 hours. And Craig, who was watching, he kept telling us, "Come on, 3 more hours." And it was 2 more hours. So it's been like that ever since.
Greg is awesome. He's on part of the rotating teams
Yeah.
that we use on Metaphysical, and you know I've been a huge supporter of all his work,
Oh, he's great.
and he's helped me a lot down the road.
I gotta say
And
something.
Linda was, yeah, she's right. She was on that too for half of it.
So my husband just logged in, so I gotta quit talking about Sam Elliott now. So, but he just busted me now because I have quit cooking and he does all the cooking now. So I have to say, I have to be good now because he does do all the cooking.
That's awesome.
So, is this a Hannibal cookbook that you almost got?
They do have one. We Googled it on the show when we were talking about Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. Just recently read a story in Morgan Freeman's voice. Yeah,
Oh,
she
and
has that
Michael-
effect to have on people like you. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, Brad's here saying anytime a Greg is a guest, the show goes 8
No,
more hours.
we're not going 8 hours. No.
No, and Michael, if you're still on, we were talking about the little whatever we saw coming back from Coatsworth, and some people got some kind of told me a little bit of what it was. So I got some pictures of what it was. This is you haven't done the drawing yet. So my
Yeah,
husband never gets on the shows. He must be wondering why I'm not upstairs yet.
Cookbooks and no cooking.
What
It's all
I
stupid.
would do is I would come back just to be with you guys again, just to avoid the 8-hour thing.
Hey, Brett saying it's a rule. No, it's not.
No, it's not a rule.
When I was in, that was when the one on this show was when I was in Macomb, and I started the show in the office, and I got sick of being in the office, so I went down the model that I was staying in. So I'm like going, okay, it's gonna end anytime now, and so taking my makeup off, and no, it still didn't end. So I was like, I'm seeing y'all later. I think that was like a 4-hour show, wasn't it?
Cooking stew or cooking stew, though? That's the question.
Yeah,
I'm cooking Stewart, okay?
Okay, so Brad's saying, okay, not 8 hours, 7 hours and 47. No, we're still not doing that.
it's a funny thing.
I
You know Chris Carr and Kristen
yeah,
Johnson.
I know who they are.
I am going to join them when I leave here. We're doing another crazy thing tonight over there too, so who knows how long it'll be tonight. But it's Thursday night.
Enjoy it.
It's better than Friday night.
Yeah, I actually have to agree with you on that much. So, I actually did have a question from earlier I wanted to ask when you were talking about the Historical Society that you're a part of. Since you said part of it revolves around Fox Lake. This is a place I'm sure you're probably, I think both of us are very familiar with because it's located out in Fox Lake. Are there any do you know any, have there been any talks at all whatsoever about the Mignolo Hotel? Like, about
it's condemned.
I know it's condemned. I mean, are there any plans at some point that they want to eventually restore it?
There was talk of them rebuilding it.
Also, like demolishing the building and then
of a venture where they're actually going to rebuild it. Not necessarily on the same scale, maybe slightly smaller.
Okay.
But just to bring it back because of the prestige it would bring back into the town. I go by it, when I'm on the water, I go by it pretty much every time, and I always have to stop because I always like to go over there. I was over there one time with a friend, Sharon Moritz, and she went around the back door, and we were there, and we were just checking it out and had our recorders going and spirit boxes and stuff. And she went up to the back door. Have you ever had anybody knock on the back door?
No, I haven't.
You can go. You go like boom, boom, boom like that. And damn it, if it doesn't boom, boom, boom back,
Oh,
and there ain't anybody in there.
oh my God.
I used to drink in there back in the day in the tavern on the front side, on the lake side.
Yep.
It was the only part that was still open.
Yeah, because the rest of the hotel, it's been like closed now for like almost 60 years. And
Well, we used to do the 4th of July fireworks in front of there because they used to have the barges out in the middle of Fox Lake. And you'd be able to go in there to use the bathrooms. But I know all the people that own it or still own it. I know that, the historical significance of the building, it's still a historic landmark.
yeah.
The status on that hasn't changed. It's just a matter of time because that whole front facade, part of it broke off. I don't know if you remember when that happened.
I don't
5
remember
years ago.
exactly, but I
Like
remember
5 years ago, and it was like, now it's getting dangerous because you can see how the front wall on the 3rd floor it's waving.
Yeah, it's like ready to cave in almost.
Right.
See, I was there 2 years ago. Actually, I had Tom with me, obviously, and
How's he doing, by the way?
he's doing good. I've been hearing from that he's feeling a lot better. He actually felt pretty bad that I wasn't able to. No, actually, he felt bad that he wasn't able to come out to celebrate Halloween with me or anyone else during this month. What's that noise in the background? You guys hear that?
Let me
It sound
shut.
like
It
a
was
phone
a-
vibrating or something.
Hold on. Let me
Right
shut-
here,
Oh,
right
it was your
here.
phone. I was wondering what the hell. I was like, it sounded like a
There-
phone vibrating or music.
They
So,
want to know if I'm coming on pretty soon. Probably.
Well,
I do have a quick question
Well-
before you. Oh, go ahead. Finish your story. Jake.
so no, what I was just gonna say was Tom and I, yeah, but like I said, Tom's feeling better though. He should be coming.
Good.
I'm hoping to see him this weekend. Actually,
Tell him I
Um,
said hi, please.
I definitely will. There was one occasion. This was our last visit we actually made to the Mignola Hotel. Again, this was about 2 years ago, and obviously, this was really one of the few locations that we were able to investigate because of COVID, understandably. So we went out and we checked out the building. We must have been out there for probably about an hour, and we were first checking out the back of the building, but then eventually made our way up to the front, like where the club was. And if you remember, I don't know if you remember seeing it live. I did a live video session of the Ghost Box session.
I want to say I did, but I can't remember it.
Well,
Er-
after that, I guess. Well, I don't think Tom should have never had done this, but he actually put his arm inside the building with his phone camera and took a picture inside. And he was able to, he pulled it back and he got a picture. And then right at the bat, because I know, unfortunately, there's a Mariners right next to the building,
Yes.
and those guys are not friendly at all.
No, they're
really
not.
rude.
Yep.
They
They're sort of like the watchdogs.
So, are they? Do you know? Are they actually like? Do they have any ownership of the building at all, or do they just keep an eye on the building?
They just keep an eye on it.
Okay.
So
As long
if
as-
somebody puts their arm through a window, there's liability issues.
Yeah, that's everything was fine until Tom put his arm through, and we're kind of thinking, yeah, you probably shouldn't have done that.
Right.
So, yeah, I just wondered if you guys ever had any issues like that with the Mariners in the past.
I talk to them all the time when I'm there.
And
Well,
I
they
guess they're
know
not-
me a little. They know me a little bit, but
I'm sure they're still not friendly though, right?
who's leaving now?
Oh, it's
I
Linda.
was just telling Linda bye.
So I'm sure even if you know them a little bit, I guess they're still
Bye,
not
Linda.
that. I guess they're still not that friendly. I assume.
No, they'll be the same.
So, Greg, I have a question for you. I know you got to get going, but I do have a question. As a historical nerd too, what is your favorite type of location? Like, what do you like to research on the history side of it, and then go investigate the most?
Battlefields.
Have you been to Vicksburg?
I haven't been to Vicksburg.
I mean-
I've been to Gettysburg.
I'm about to say Gettysburg. I mean, Vicksburg probably doesn't hold anything to Gettysburg, but of course that's where it ended. So
Yes.
got to come down to Vicksburg one day.
Okay. I will.
Maybe I'll tag along, Greg, since I'd be kind of on your way.
We'll get back together again. You know,
Yeah,
if not on here, we'll be on my show.
Oh,
on the
definitely. You know
Shadow
what?
Hour.
That leads me to one final question I have is because I haven't heard anything lately. Are there any more Paracons coming up in Chicago that you know about, or you
Well, you had Jack.
We had Jack's,
Savage, and I missed the last one
yeah.
because I ran out of people that were going.
Okay.
You know, and that was one of those things where it's not a easy drive. Yes, I do. I've been to a lot of battles.
So
I've been
what
to
I'm going
a
to
lot
do, if you
of
don't mind,
battles.
Greg, my father-in-law was big into Gettysburg, so I might send you some pictures of some stuff we have found while cleaning out his house, and let you tell me if it's just like I mean, you might not be able to, but like something we need to hold on to, or if it's something we can
Sure.
sell just to kind of, because we're trying to make a little bit more money to go back towards renovations.
Yeah, that's to me, that is the place that really hit me in my heart because of the camaraderie and that we're all soldiers, and it was when they came out of the woods, it was really an emotional night.
Well,
And
It sure was.
I could feel them here. I mean, literally, they came out of the woods, and they were all Confederates, because that's where the Confederates were. They were in the woods, and all the Union troops were up on top of the hill, and they just splattered them. And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
and the granite piece of rock that I had my equipment on and had set up was like 12 feet from the woods.
Not to really promote Ghost Adventures, but they did an episode where they were at the Vicksburg battlefield. Then they went to what is the name of it? It's a little town. It's in Edwards, Mississippi, right there, and it was a little battle right before you get to Vicksburg from here, Champion Hill, and actually doing some research, I have found, and this is all I can find on this great whatever grandfather. He there's a journal that was wrote at Champion Hill, and he is in that journal. Someone shot at him and shot and killed his horse, but he, of course, or I wouldn't be here, got away unhurt. But he is actually in a journal I found was online. I found it, but at the Battle of Champion Hill, and then I found out my third great grandfather, I think who it was actually a POW during the Siege of Vicksburg.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so that's why I'm kind of a little,
Did he make it? Did he make it home?
Yeah. I had some cousins that I found that actually died at Champion Hill and also died in Vicksburg, but those were more because they got cuts, and then it was they got infected and kind of died that way. And Courtney, if you were talking to me, it's funny, his name was William Robinson at Champion Hill. But if you're talking to me, but I don't know if you're talking to them. But yeah,
that is one of the places, like I said, up in Kentucky, even Frenchburg on the far side of K Run Lake. There was a skirmish up there between Union troops.
Where I live now, there was one, and the statue is actually facing the opposite way because everyone came, I don't know, north, south, east, west, sorry, but I think from east to west is the way it normally went, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But the statue is actually facing west. And everybody was like, why is this statue facing west? The town I'm in, which is Brandon, Mississippi, the troops came in from the opposite side and came through here. So I'm in the historical side of Brandon. And So it happened less than a mile down from where I live.
Well, you could probably go right outside your house and go out at night and do stuff.
I don't ever do anything around my house. My
No,
house.
I'm saying go a block away.
Mhm.
Go to a park.
Yeah, we've
You know,
actually
and
got
just-
Shiloh Park, and the cemetery for the Civil War Cemetery is actually a mile down the road.
There you go.
Wow.
Yep. So
That's
if you ever
awesome.
do come here,
That's an awesome.
I'll bring you.
well-
Take you there.
That is awesome. Thank you.
All right, but I know you got to get going. So
Yeah.
if people don't know you, where are they going to find you?
You can find me on my Facebook page. You can find me at Shadowhunters Paranormal Investigation and Events page, and I'm around GRS Ghost Research Society. I have other pages. I have a page that's called Red Eye Custom. It's a Muskie Bait page. A friend of mine did a page that's called the Paranormal Outdoorsman, because of all my fishing, how crazy I am about that. And he put a page on Facebook, and it's just pictures and things. And I was supposed to film. He was going to film me this last year fishing, but we never got to it because I chase big fish. So, not that the other end is lit up down there, but I'm a muskie guy. So muskies are big fish,
Gotcha.
and they got a lot of teeth, and the adrenaline rush is supreme. It's like getting shot at.
Don't want to know that
Wow.
feeling. Don't want to know that feeling.
And well, that's the rush. That's the only way I can compare it, because my legs start to shake.
And what about
So-
your shows? You do a couple of
Yeah,
shows.
because
I do.
Jeremy's asking.
Metaphysical Crossing is on Wednesday nights, and it's primarily ITC, Instrumental Transcommunication, and that's at 8:00. All our shows on Shadowhunters are at 8:00, and then Friday's show is the Shadow Hour, and I'm usually doing it interviewing people that I've met in the paranormal, people that interest me that I see on Facebook and I'm attracted to in one way or the other as far as what they have to offer as far as the paranormal. So I try to bring them on. I don't do cooking shows.
Obviously, as my husband says, I don't either. I don't do it
Okay,
live.
well, that brings us closer together that way.
There's
There you
Paranormal
go.
Fisher. That sounds like a good
But-
show to make, the Paranormal Fisher.
But if you're gonna close this down for a minute, I do have a question to ask both you guys after you shut down.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we can talk after the credits.
Okay, I don't want to have the suspense hanging on forever. But
Eileen, I can tell she's kind of scared already. She
who's
needs
scared?
I think Eileen is. She needs an adult.
No, she's fine. I ever since I first saw her, she's one of those ladies, She has that
That
energy.
could be good. That could be bad.
Especially
Is that a
the
good
films-
thing or a bad thing?
The films at the wedding.
Poor Eileen. Scared or scary as Jeremy
No,
puts.
she was fantastic.
Thank you.
Like all the people on this show.
Thank you.
Adrian's the same way, except she's Colorado, and
Yeah, we don't care. Yeah, we're,
they're way
don't
too many feet above sea level for me.
Eileen's the best.
Mwah.
Well, that more actually describes what do you mean by best?
I
do, you
get
mean
it.
like, do you mean like best stealer of cups, best holder of crystals,
Especially getting in trouble.
best
looking
getting in
at
trouble?
And the best guy with the most information, if anybody wanted to go ahead and talk about him, it would be Nick
That is true.
and his research into what he does with his shows.
Like I said, that's the reason. As soon as we saw it, I messaged Nick like immediately. I knew if anybody would know, it'd be Nick.
Yeah, that's why it's the reason why there's. I mean, well, honestly, it's as I would probably put it, it's called. I'm called Wikipedia for a couple good reasons, and that's
but Adrian's she's still in Colorado, and that's
but
like
it's flat lands like the rest of us are.
yeah, but it's still almost a mile high. It's a mile high
True.
compared to us.
Yeah, that's true.
I think we're like 300, 200 feet here.
Yeah, we're
above
pretty
sea
low
level.
here.
Yeah, so I mean that's really up there. You got to drink a lot of water. You go crazy.
A lot of water.
Your head will blow up.
It looks like Keith's asking one final question just before we go. I know very little about metaphysical. How would you describe the term metaphysical?
That's where you combine the paranormal and the unknown, and through science. I want to believe that's how it's put. I you know
Would
what?
you like me
Right
to Google?
now, pardon me.
Would you like me to Google?
You might as well.
She
You got
gets
your
it to
phone out
Google.
there. I think it has to do with all three of those, but
See, I do the research. Eileen does the Googling.
that's awesome. That's why she's here. And
Yeah.
I have a show. I have a show with it in the name of one of my shows is Metaphysical.
Yep.
So I mean, you would figure I would know what it means. And I think that's what it means, but I could.
It's
be
a
wrong.
branch of okay, not saying I can say some of these words, but it's a branch of philosophy that studies the fundamental nature of reality, the first principles of being, identity, and change, space, and time.
There you go. Basically, the same thing we just talked about.
Yes. I told you what Wikipedia says.
Space and time.
Well, I love everyone. Thank y'all for coming on. Greg, it was awesome having you on. I had so much fun.
And we'll definitely have you back on. We'll definitely have you
Okay.
back on real soon.
That would be awesome.
All right. Well, with that being said, well, actually, I'm just going to say this quick just before we go. In case you guys want to tune in, I'm actually going to be a guest once again on Matt TV tomorrow night. It's been from Canada. If you guys remember that show I was on with Matt Grant, he's going to have me on as a guest tomorrow night. And honestly, that's pretty much it.
Did they tell you you have to wear pants when you're in that show?
Oh, are you supposed to wear pants during the shows? Oh man.
Jeremy, so originally I was supposed to be on Matt TV last night, but what I didn't realize was that Matt, unlike a lot of other times nowadays, he wasn't using StreamYard. So I was just waiting for the link to be sent. I didn't realize he was using just Facebook Live. So Tom actually messaged me and asked, "Did you forget about Matt's show tonight?" I'm like, no, I've just been waiting for a StreamYard link. And so I had to call Matt up quickly to see what happened. And then it was all misunderstanding. So we have rescheduled it to tomorrow night. That will be at, I think it's 6 o'clock our time, Greg. So yeah, I think about 6 o'clock. So if you guys want to tune in for that tomorrow night, I'll be on that. So should be a good show. It's been a while since I've been on Matt TV. Looking forward to be back on. So, but anyways, yeah, with that being said, yeah, you guys all have a great night. Greg,
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
awesome. Awesome.
Greg,
to
yeah,
have
stick
you.
around so you can tell us what you were going to tell us after the credits.
It's a secret, so nobody else can know.
All right. All right. Good night, everyone.